What's going on, everyone? I'll be talking about the news that happened for the Detroit Pistons today. We hired a new coach, Dwane Casey of the Toronto, who was been recently fired by the Toronto Raptors. And I'm first of all, my impression is I'm really excited to hear about this. I was waiting for this for the past almost 3 weeks or 4 weeks since Stan Van Gundy firing. I think this is a good move for the Pistons. We needed a coach that represent the city of Detroit. You know what? I'm living in Chicago and I'm moving to Detroit, to the Ann Arbor, Detroit area. The people of that Detroit area need a good representative for the city, and I feel like Dwane Casey has that personality and the kind of character, the charisma that represent the city. So I think it's a really great coach for us. First of all, as a start, he's different than Stan Van Gundy. I didn't really hate Stan Van Gundy as a guy. He was a really nice guy, but I feel like Dwane Casey is at a whole different new level compared to Stan Van Gundy. First of all, congratulate the Piston fans for the move. I think we made a good choice by signing with Dwane Casey as a start. The biggest next step is we're going to need a new general manager. Now, I kind of have a feeling that Casey has is going to have some sort of decision in making of the management. I don't know. I don't really believe that Tom Gore should make him as the general manager, but you never know. You know, they might not have an option at this point. So, but if I'm going to see a new manager, I'd rather like to see Tayshaun Prince. Is one of my favorite players. Not a lot of people like Tayshaun, but he's my favorite player. I'd like to see him as a general manager, or Brent Barry. I don't know. He's also good. There's a lot of other options. I don't really see Chauncey Billups coming in as a general manager or a president, so I don't really anticipate that from him. He looks like he's happy at his job at ESPN. Anyways, next step is for us to work with this team. What do we have with the key pieces? Key pieces right now, I believe our key pieces is two: Drummond and Blake. And I think it's very important that Casey have an impression first time on Blake Griffin. What I don't really quite understand 100%, he should have a good impression on Drummond, because Drummond is one of our best players too. I feel like best player last season was not Blake Griffin, it was Andre Drummond. And he is the key player. Not a lot of people like to put him on the first figure for our team. I think most of the people like to put Blake ahead of him, but I think Drummond have the capability of making himself to elevate himself to the next level. So these two guys are the cornerstone for our team, Blake and Dre. And I don't know how the team would perform with them without with the addition of with the current playmaking skill of Reggie Jackson. You know, I mean, if you look at this jersey, this is just a shirt, but I have his jersey. My favorite player of the Pistons right now, that I root for, is Reggie Jackson. But I almost gave up on this guy. I don't know what's going on. He is being injury prone. He's not really performing most of the time, and he's not really shooting very well as in the previous years. And he dribbles a lot, and there's a lot of negativity about him. But when he performs with the Pistons, he performs on a good level. The question is, how would he fit currently with Blake and Dre with our starting lineup? And I feel like we could visit Reggie Jackson's contract, and maybe we can try to ship him for a deal and get a better shooting point guard. I mean, I like Terry Rozier or someone like Young, or maybe like I loved Spencer Dinwiddie. Man, I hate Stan Van Gundy so much because he traded this guy. This guy is really so good, and he is a lot better player right now than Reggie Jackson at this point. And I'm kind of like regretting the fact that we traded him for nothing, basically. And I'm so happy for him, but I feel like Spencer Dinwiddie, also players like Terry Rozier, really good players for us. I think they would probably match. I don't know how they match with Dre and Blake, but I think that for shooting wise, they're better than Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson is really good, but he's been injury prone. I don't know how he's gonna perform. And his contract, everybody talking about him. He's making a lot of millions. It's true. It's $60 million, but I mean, it's not really that of a ridiculously bad contract if you compare it to other NBA players. The biggest deal we have, the worst contract, is John Lure and Langston Galloway. I think these are the worst contracts we have, unfortunately. If we can ship John Lure, man, our team would be really good. I'm serious. But I don't see that happening. The main thing is we could try to do a trade in the off season because obviously we don't have a trade pick. We don't have any really first round pick in the trade in the lottery, and I don't know how we're gonna perform with the second round pick. So I would try to consider shipping, doing a little bit minor changes, trying to get rid of John Lure and Langston Galloway, one of them, and maybe we could include either Ish Smith or maybe Reggie Jackson. I don't know if it's possible, but these are the changes I would do. I'd love to keep Dre and Blake and the team to see if how they're gonna perform together next season because we didn't see them a lot last season, only like few, like under 10 games or something together. They didn't really play together for long, and it was a lot of fun when I first saw Blake and Dre. So I would like to see them again. But you know, speaking of the coach, I think Casey is gonna be a really good coach for us. He's gonna make his own style of play for the Pistons. I anticipate a lot of things gonna change compared to Stan Van Gundy this era, and I don't know if we're gonna reach the really make a noise in the playoff or reach the playoff. My first evaluation or like impression that I would love to see my team again in the playoff. Doesn't mean we're gonna really win a series or advance, but at least put up a good fight, not just being swept like the first time to LeBron. So, you know, I mean, I would love to see this Piston go into the playoffs and advancing for another series, for another round, and maybe beating one of the good teams. But we will see. You know, a lot of things depends on the health of the team, but also a lot of things depends on how the team is gonna perform and how the style of play is gonna be. Few changes I think could happen, like for example tweaking the rotation. If something I'd like to do, I would love to have. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people like to trade Stanley. I'm still a believer in Stanley. I think he's still young. That's the only reason I'm believing in him because he's still 22-year-old. I mean, you cannot really give up on a player who's this young and trade him for nothing. You know what? See, you saw what happened to Spencer. Spencer Dinwiddie was not even good in the first 1 or 2 years, and then out of a sudden, this guy became really good. And I'm feel like really bad because we traded him for nothing. So I feel like this guy, Stanley, can out of a sudden jumps up into a higher level, and we kind of like start regretting this again. Anyways, I hope that the changes would happen, like including a few rotation changes so that we can see a different team. If we keep the same team as it is, I don't mind that if we can keep it, but I would like us to see winning for sure. So let's hope for a positive end result for this team and stay positive with the overall attitude toward my team, and hopefully we'll make some noise in the next season. As far as for now, see you guys later. Have a good day.